Well, the opposition is calling for Wayne Swan's resignation after reports that the controversial mining tax failed to raise a single cent in its first 3 months. But the government is calling for patience, saying the tax is working as planned and will bring in the money to help the Treasurer achieve his surplus. Political correspondent Tom Eagleton reports from Canberra.
Suiting up for another day at the economic coalface, but when Wayne Swan went digging for more money with the mining tax, the well was dry, with reports it raised nothing in the first 3 months of operation.
Because a profits-based tax is a tax which delivers revenue when prices are really high, and when prices are really low, it doesn't deliver the revenue.
But the opposition says the Treasurer's fudging.
Look, the tax has failed. I have never heard of a tax that doesn't raise a dollar.
And it's calling on Julia Gillard to fire him.
They can introduce a new tax which does massive damage to our reputation overseas, which does massive damage to investor perceptions of Australia, and then so botch it that they get no revenue from it. Yet the spending associated with the mining tax continues apace.
Except for one, the government's company tax cuts are officially dead after business leaders couldn't agree on what other taxes would have to go up.
And I'm disappointed that they couldn't agree on how that should be done.
The mining tax was supposed to pay for that company tax cut, but the government's been slashing its forecast for the first year of the mining tax's operation from $4 billion in May to $2 billion in Monday's mini-budget, though Mr Swan got that number wrong today.
We expect to receive this year something like $9 billion from the NRRT.
But the Treasurer says the tax will come good in time.
Because you can't take one particular quarter and claim that as representative of the whole year.
So you factored it in?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the opposition leader says the first quarter is a sign of things to come.
Given that conditions in the sector are much flatter than they were, and expectations in the sector are mixed at best, I don't think that the government can have any real confidence of getting more revenue in subsequent quarters than it's got in this quarter.
Others in the government are arguing minerals prices don't need a strong rebound for the tax to work.
Why won't it raise it in the early part? Because these mining companies are making massive investments in infrastructure, which is tax deductible.
But without the $2 billion mining tax dollars this year, the government will need to look elsewhere to achieve its $1 billion surplus projection.
Oh, the surplus is gone. Let's stop the charade. The surplus is gone. There is no surplus.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mr Hockey's behaving very strangely at the moment.
Mr Swan's still promising to deliver that surplus, but he's not the only cabinet member facing financial questions tonight. Bob Carr's been taking his wife with him on his overseas trips. The cost to taxpayers, $120,000 since Mr Carr became Foreign Minister in March.
I'm proud that Helena has accompanied me on every trip I've done, because while I'm talking to the Foreign Minister, she's inspecting aid projects or talking to groups of women.
But opposition Foreign Affairs spokesman Julie Bishop says Bob Carr appears to be in breach of ministerial guidelines because Helena Carr doesn't have an official role with Australia's overseas aid organisations. In response, the Foreign Minister's uploaded pictures on the internet showing his wife at various foreign aid events in the region. Tom Eagleton, Lateline.